And welcome inside episode 54 of Breaking Bats, presented by Not For Long Media. My name is Justin Ayers, and my co-host joining me for this week is none other than the man himself. It is Colin Thompson, NFL tight end. This is great. This is like a little baseball, football crossover. It's a lot of football in the news right now, but baseball is still top of mind for us. Colin, thank you so much for coming on and riding shotgun on this one.
It's an honor and a privilege, I'll say that first and foremost, to be back with the great Justin Ayers of Breaking Bats, formerly of the Colin Thompson Show, presented by Not For Long Media. 54 episodes, man. What a wild ride.
We're coming up on our 1 year anniversary too, which I don't know when exactly in February that is, but I just remember, I think it's like the end of the month. I don't know, maybe I have to do like a birthday bash or something, but we'll figure it out. But
I remember being like, oh, we're gonna just, I was remember like the first year we did it. I'm like, I'm going to remember the anniversaries. I'm like, I think we're already through that. It's like, I don't know. It's like wake me up when it's like 10 years and, we're rolling. We're like the next Barcel. That's when you wake me up.
Yes. Yeah. It's, we'll have a big thing for it. But so I started doing this with Brian. Every episode we do we do episode numbers on this one. So it's episode 54. And then I started this way too late to make it fun. So we missed out on the first 30 jersey numbers, but we always do. This episode is in honor of somebody that wore the number of the episode number. So this week it's the Brad Lidge episode. Brad Lidge
yeah, baby.
Wore 54
his entire career. Unbelievable. He was like, I'm just cutting off. I'm just letting it rip. That guy was unbelievable in Philly. Go Phillies. I'm rocking the hat right now. He was electric. Carlos Ruiz behind the plate. Man, that pitching staff was such. When I think of Brad Lidge, I just think of being a kid going to Phillies games and knowing they were going to win. Like, literally, they won 100 plus games, 99, 98, like at 95 plus for like a decade when they won, their division. It was so much fun as a kid. We watched every single game in the summer, like literally every game. 1 o'clock. It's on 7 o'clock. It's on. And like planning for it, like it was like an NFL game where you plan NFL Sunday where you're going to do something. It was like, okay, who's coming over? Where are we going to their house and how we're going about it? So you say Brad Lidge, I'm all in. Justin Ayers.
I looked up his numbers. The 1 year in 2008, he had 41 saves and a 1.95 ERA, just unhittable. And then
undefeated.
Yeah. And then he had some up and down years. I just remember him. He was also a Washington National in 2012. And I don't have great. He had a 10 ERA in 2012 with the Nationals. So that's how and also when he gave up the home run to Pujols in the 05 NLCS, that's one of his most iconic home runs Pujols ever hit was off Brad Lidge. So
tough one. That's tough. I mean, that's what happens though. It's like, everyone tells their stories of like in hockey scoring a goal on this goalie, but it's like baseball. It's like letting up a home run against Poppy or like
Pujols
or McGuire or Ryan Howard or whoever these guys are. I just threw Ryan Howard in there. Shameless plug to put him with the all-time great home run guys. But I think he would have been if he would have been healthy, and they would have brought him up a little earlier. Jim Thome kind of stacked behind him. Look at me with the baseball knowledge I'm dropping today.
You're killing it today.
It kind of froze for me there. When the Phillies disappeared for the last decade, it just boom, it just went off. I'm wearing the LSU baseball jersey today. Shout out to Aaron Nola. But yeah, my wife's family, like Justin and I were talking before, I'm a big, let's talk on air, catch up on air and have fun doing that. Keep it loose, keep it light. And I already hijacked your show by doing that. But you got the LSU baseball jersey on. My father-in-law went to LSU. He played golf there. He was an All-American there. And I'm a huge Gator baseball fan. And loved it when I was at Florida, going to games every weekend, watching the team, being friends with the guys. Some of those guys have been on the show, and I just absolutely loved it. It was a cool just culture and laid back. And then LSU always been really good. And my father-in-law went there, and we get a little gift card to Fanatics every year. Jay knows about that one. And I wanted to, treat myself to a little jersey. So I bought the little LSU white baseball jersey. I have a Florida baseball jersey. I don't know when I'm going to wear it. I'm like, great, I'll wear it at the beach when we go. But then you're like the hard ass wearing the jersey on the beach. It's kind of like a tough look, like you're in college. So I don't know. Maybe I just got to lean into it. I was jacked to tell my wife tonight that I had an opportunity to wear this LSU baseball jersey. So every time I wear it, she's going to know about it.
That's one thing on this podcast that I've always talked about. It's just getting more into college baseball. We haven't really done a ton of it. We talked a little bit about it when it was Like there's a
Maybe
guy
I'll
from
come on
NC.
and I'll be the once a month 20-minute update on college baseball.
Are you going to get into it?
Oh, I want to get into it more. If you tell me, Colin, you come on, like I want to, like for our show, my buddy Nick does a little Premier League update, once a month, once every 2 months. If you tell me once a month, I need you to come on and talk college baseball and give us some clips, I'm all in. I'll have a new jersey on every week, and it'll give me an excuse to use that Fanatics gift card on more college baseball jerseys.
We need it because yeah, it's an area of baseball that like a lot of people are passionate about it. Like I watched the College World Series and I see the people in Omaha just losing their minds over like, I mean, it's just like a crazy cool experience to watch college baseball. And that's, I don't know, we got to give it more love. So I'm gonna put that in the tickler file. We'll have to do that this year because
I'm down.
I
Put it
don't
in
have
the
a college
file.
baseball team.
Yeah, well, you got to adopt one. You just got to go all in on one. It's like the same thing as Premier League soccer. It's like, I'm not a soccer fan. And neither was I. I'm like a hockey and football guy. But if you pick one team and go all in and learn about the history and learn about the history of the league, we're going over to London in March. We're going to a Tottenham Hotspurs game. Like we're going for 5 days. We found really cheap flights. We're all in. So I think we're taking a train to Paris for a day, like a $40 train ride from London to Paris, like a joke. So yeah, I digress. I've derailed the interview, but I'm all in to be your correspondent. I have my future brother-in-law. He's a huge Texas Tech fan. I have LSU fans. I got Florida fans. So I have a good little pulse kind of on Texas
SEC.
to like SEC world. It's good stuff.
I like
Already
that.
hijacked your show. It's good stuff. Lots to talk about here. Justin sent me this whole thing like we're back together again. I love it. So prepared. I prepared. I mean, I got full page of notes here, so I'm ready to rip it up.
Oh, let's go. Yeah. Well, I'm nothing if not prepared for these. It's just like the good old days where it's just Colin and I just chopping it up about mostly college football back in the day. But now we have a sport where free and easy. You just talk whatever you want.
Not for home media, whatever you want to do. Have fun.
Whatever. We interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our friends at Som Sleep. Are you having trouble getting enough sleep at night? Because Som Sleep has you covered. The scientifically advanced Som snack includes ingredients that are naturally found in your body like GABA, magnesium, and melatonin. Sleep is the best form of recovery and has helped people everywhere take their games to the next level. It's simple. All you have to do is drink one serving 30 minutes before bed and your body will naturally calm itself down. Wake up feeling refreshed and ready to conquer your day. Go to getsom.com, click shop, and enter the code BATS, B-A-T-S, at checkout for 10% off of your entire order. Now back to the episode. The first thing I wanted to talk to you about, and you have the hat on in honor of this, I'm assuming, is there just like the last like year or so for Philadelphia sports has been, I mean, maybe we can get Jack Connell in here to talk about the Sixers or something, but like the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, the Phillies were in the World Series, like they didn't win, but like what a run for the city of Philadelphia, which I don't know, in my lifetime they've never been like the teams have never been like this dominant, like at the same time. So I just wanted to get your take on the last, I don't know, it's like 6 months or so. It's just been badass.
Yeah, the last couple of years, really, it's been just crazy. I was talking about it before on a different show. Sixers deep run, Phillies deep run, Flyers. It's tough. It's a historic franchise that's just couldn't figure out the goalie. Then they get the goalie. Now the team's not there. They're in limbo. But everyone else is loaded. Deep run Sixers, deep run Phillies, deep run Eagles, and they're like sustained success runs like Turner 10 years, Bryce Harper 10 years, Rio Muto 10 years. Like they're core pieces that are there. MLS team, I think they lost in the final. I do think Temple football is heading in the right direction. Villanova, every year, down year this year with hoops and Jay Wright stepped away, but like every year they're in it for basketball too. And then, that environment, those fans, that stadium, all four stadiums are all four pro sports teams playing down there in South Philly within a quarter mile of each other. And it's kind of just built for tailgating and fun and community and camaraderie. I said it before. I think Philly fans are the best fans in the world. I'm not saying they're the best people in the world. Watch those videos. They're tough, man, but they're the best fans in the world. And I'm from there. So I'm saying not the best people in the world. I'm from that place. But it's funny too. We were at the Phillies game on. I was going crazy in front of the TV and my wife's never seen me like that before. She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, and she's from Houston. So in the final, that was chaos. When Bryce hit that home run, I was going nuts. Like literally, I was going ape shit. And I never act like that about sports because usually somehow, some way, I know a guy on a team. I know this. Like I'm not a fan. That's why I picked the Premier League team. That's why I'm into college baseball. And when the Phillies turned around, I tried to explain to her how deep we were into it when we were younger. Like crazy. It was crazy. So that all being said, I think Philly fans are the best in the world. They're just relentless. They're just diehards. It's everyone starts a 4 for 4. People are like, if you're not from Philly, people don't even know what that is. 4 for 4 means I'm a 4 for 4 fan. I'm a diehard all four sports teams. So um, they're just different, and the city's different, and the pressure to have success and the owners that back it, that's key. You see a lot of success with their franchises.
It's crazy because like the Phillies had that like long playoff drought for a team that's in a major market that for so long had always been like consistently good. Like, was that frustrating during that 10-year stretch where you're like, guys, I know you can do it. You went, you had all this success before. You just had a decade of absolutely nothing.
It was yeah, really tough. It's a great question for a fan's perspective because again, you have this group of kids and then you have a group of like young parents. When we were like in '08 era, I was, whatever I was, 12. And then, the parents are what, in their 40s, 50s, and like we're diehards. And now remove it 10 years and you could see it again. The passion's there. Like Red October, that place in the playoffs is legit. Every player says it. Schwarber said it was the best playoff atmosphere he's ever played in. I mean, he was in Boston, he was in Chicago. So, I mean, that guy was a machine this year. When they signed him, I'll be honest, I was like, oh no. Oh no. And my buddy in Boston is a Red Sox fan. They're like, he didn't have a good year. And Benway too. Man, oh man, oh man. You can argue he was the MVP of the Phillies this year. Inconsistent. He was there. He was ready. He was available. I mean, the guy was an absolute stud. So yeah, it was a really big dip there. And that like affects selfishly like your summer because there's nothing to watch if they stink.
Mhm.
Like the game's on, but no one watches it. So this summer will be crazy. Jersey Shore will be nuts. Opening day will be sold out. They'll be sold out almost every game again, which is great because they had a streak there for a while that was really, really good.
Baseball is better when the Phillies are good, obviously, but like baseball is also better when the Phillies are acting like they're like the bad boys. Like they go out and sign Trey Turner, they go out and they bolster all their team. They have all these high profile guys. Like that's just more fun. It wasn't fun when they were winning like 68 games and banking on like first round draft picks that didn't pan out, like Mickey Moniak. It's just like it's just not as like and this is from a Nationals fan too. Like it's just no fun. So I like the level of accountability that the city of Philadelphia demands from their sports teams. Um, here's a football crossover for you with Philly. Do you notice like the Mike Trout at the Eagles games and how much hate he gets online for that?
Yeah, like, oh, look, Mike Trout finally made the playoffs. Yeah. I mean,
It's every
people are,
year.
but as Philly is so obsessed with that, right? Like, if there's any city that's obsessed with the guys where they're from, it's Philly. Like the announcers when they're like, and this kid bringing up the court is from St. Joe's Prep High School. Like Philly's like, oh, he went to prep. That's where Joe went and Bob went, and my cousin graduated from. He should come back and play for the Sixers. Like that's like what everybody in Philly wants to talk about. And I know everybody's city wants that, but like there's something about it. Like I was telling a story the other day. My great grandfather came off the boat here, and like off the boat, excuse me, from Italy to Philly. And like he's been here forever. Like our family was established in the city. We're not transplant that move to Tampa or, hey, we're going to go to Texas or whatever. And that's awesome, but it's just deep rooted stuff in my opinion. But yeah, like he's from Vineland, New Jersey, Mike Trout. It's like, when's he come back to play for the Phillies? It's like, I don't know. He just signed a $400 million deal or whatever he signed with the Angels. Like, I don't think he's coming back. It's okay. He may come and live here when he's done, but it's like, I'm sure they're chanting, "We want Mike" to him in the crowd. And they'll hold it against him for not coming back, I'm sure.
It's every single year. He's always in the front row. He's always getting like the touchdown football handed to him, and it's always just like the joke on Twitter. He's been to more Eagles playoff games than Angels playoff games.
Look,
So,
and then my favorite is look at the Eagles players. They're recruiting him here. They're trying to get him here. They're trying.
Mike wants to come home.
Let me give him the ball.
It's every single year. Mike Trout just likes going hunting. He likes going to Eagles games, and he likes going to the diner in Millville, New Jersey, or whatever, and just hanging out.
Correct. Maybe he's from Millville, not Vineland. I don't know. Same thing. South Jersey.
That's South Jersey area. Yeah, it's that's Mike Trout. And, we can't, as much as I'd like him to be more outgoing and more of like a face of baseball, he's just not.
Yeah,
But
and
I will
people,
continue to make fun of him for it.
yeah, I think people make, I don't think, and I know you brought this on the show before. It's like, oh, the guy baseball, baseball, and I would say this too. I don't think the MLB does a good enough job broadcasting their stars, but it's like baseball doesn't. Mike Trout doesn't really do a nice job growing the game of baseball. Is it his right to? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think we
Doesn't have
debated it.
to.
No, he's just really good, Hall of Famer already, and he'll probably going to play for another 10 years.
Yeah. That's why we have this whole next generation of a next wave of like, there's a lot of cool guys from like all over the world. Like the cover of MLB The Show 23's Jazz Chisholm, who's from the Bahamas. So it's just like,
Sweet.
And obviously we have like the Tatises and the Sotos and the Cunha Juniors. Like we have a really good international presence that's really going to grow the game. So I'm excited about that. But you referenced Tampa a minute ago, and that was actually where I wanted to go next, because the Tampa Bay Rays, and this is talking to you as a former player on a professional sports team based in Tampa. So I want to get your unique perspective. Yeah, RIP. The mayor of St. Petersburg, which is where the Rays are now, he has selected I want to get this right. He selected a proposal that would keep the Rays in St. Pete, and they want to develop a new stadium where the old one is now in like the Tropicana Field area. And it's going to be like 30,000 people, which isn't that many. That's really tiny. And it's gonna have like a whole like fan experience, and there's be like a city street that's like a game day street, and it's all great. But like you've been to St. Petersburg and you've been to Tampa. Like, don't you think they would have been better off putting this thing across the bay where actually people are?
There's a ton of people in St. Pete. They're all from Philly, though. They're all from New York. They're from the Bronx. They're from Charleston, and they don't like the cold December weather. So they move down there, and catch opening day, when the Braves come to town. But my point is, there's nobody there. You're right. Put it in Tampa. I love St. Pete. Let me make this clear to the mayor, whoever's listening. If they listen to Breaking Bats, we hope you do. Brought to you by Not For Long Media. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you stay there. It's a great city. It's a good time. Postcard Inn, a couple good bars there. I've been there. Good time. But there's nobody there. I played in that stadium in an Under Armour All-America game. There is nobody there. There was nobody at that game. Those games draw more people in Orlando. They draw more people in Hawaii. So, it needs to be leveled and rebuilt. And I'm for the whole city and the mall environment and make it a whole thing where you travel down there and have a good time. And it's good for, April. But the problem is, like, no one's going to be there in June and July. Like, people put their places up for Airbnb or whatever. Like they shut their place down for the summer and they move back to the winter because it's 100 degrees there. So move it to Tampa. I completely agree, Justin Ayers. The Lightning have an amazing fan base, an amazing local support system. How the impact on the community and youth sports there, it's been huge too. Talking to people there, some locals that I became friends with from Tampa, all the rinks, all the former players that live and reside there and then pump the money back into the community they made while playing for that team. Guys that don't even play for the Lightning move to Tampa because there's a hockey presence. So that's a real thing. Tampa's a place where people retire, live, whatever, what have you, play a lot of golf. Move it downtown. Find a way to do it. I think that's the best way to do it. I get it for St. Pete. It's probably huge for the community down there. I'm sure there's money involvement. I'm sure there's politics, but I agree, Justin. Put it downtown. I think it'd be good.
It's like, so I haven't been to a game at the Trop, but I did live in St. Clearwater. So that's kind of where your Philly people are for a little bit. It's just like, it's not in an area that's close to downtown. You can technically walk to it, like from downtown to the Trop, but it's not like I wouldn't do it. Then most of the people that actually watch these games, like they drive from Tampa. So if it's a 7:00 game and you got to go across those bridges that go across the Tampa Bay, like it's an hour and a half easy with traffic. They just get so bottlenecked. It's just like, I don't understand how they could see that would be the best option when for a while they were throwing out plans of like, we could put the Rays in Ybor City in Tampa. Like we could put them over here in Tampa, which they absolutely should.
City. Ybor City's a great time. Great vibe. It's like a small Bourbon Street kind of vibe.
Yep.
A little cleaner though, but yeah, love it. Tampa, so many great cities, so many great places. There's a bunch of people with a bunch of money there that want to spend it and have a good time too. Right on the water, find a way to make it happen. There's some room there. I'm sure they could find a way.
Yeah, it's just where the Trop is now. It's just a bunch of parking lots, and maybe if they build stuff around it, sure, but still, just the fact remains, it's in a bad spot. But this got me thinking that like we've had this debate before about like where stadiums are, or like where stadiums should be to like have the best fan experience. I think we talked about this when the Sixers were talking about moving down to downtown. Um, it's interesting because baseball, you've seen this trend of like getting out of the city. Like the Braves moved from downtown Atlanta to Cobb County, like where the Rangers play. It's kind of out there a little bit. Like I don't know if I like that for baseball. I feel like I never went to Turner Field, but having that in a downtown part of a city, that's where you want to be.
Especially with public transportation and Uber, like getting promoted more and more, like moving around quickly. And yeah, I mean, I was for the Sixers moving to the city. I get it would be contradictory because I just said I think the atmosphere in Philly is tremendous because all four pro sports teams play right there, and the MLS team plays, 10 miles down 95 or whatever that is, 5 miles down 95, underneath the bridge. So, no, I'm for it. It's a great point. It's tough on baseball. You're right, Justin, because there's so many games. You got 82 home games or whatever it is, 80 home games. You got to find a way to make it work. So I think, Boston, great. Hey, it's a Tuesday. Hey, we got a half day of work. Let's go to the 3:00 game. Boom. You're going to get more of that instead of, oh man, I got to go 45 minutes outside the city. We got to sit in traffic.
Yeah.
Let's just watch the game at home. So I think, yeah, you're right, Jay. I am 100%. I was writing down some of my favorite like stadiums I've been in on the show doing some prep. Phillies in the city, Astros. Oh, great place. Minute Maid in the city. I've been in New York, old and new. It's not in downtown Manhattan, but it's in New York City. It's in that area. It's accessible via public transportation. Boston in the city. I mean, killer. Wrigleyville. I could live there tomorrow. Same with Boston. And then Baltimore. I mean, that's the beacon of the Baltimore right now, sadly. So yeah, I think you need to stay in the city and find a way to do it just for fans and people and juice and more stuff to do.
Have you ever seen so I've been to where the Marlins play in Miami. First of all, it's not in the city. It's literally in a residential neighborhood.
It's next to the airport. It's next to the airport, between like the highway and the airport. I've driven past it a couple times too. The players probably love it because they're like, perfect. We get out of here right after the game. Sometimes you play in a stadium and you land somewhere and you're on the bus for like 45 minutes going to the stadium and you're like, man, this is going to suck after the game when I feel like crap. Now, baseball players may or may not feel like crap after their games like we do, but football, we definitely think about that for sure. Like Tampa, you play the game, you're on the plane 5 minutes later. It's right there.
I didn't realize how close Raymond James was to the airport. Does that
right there? When you board the plane,
just going over it the entire time?
No, they're coming in the other way, but they come down. Like most of them come in over like Clearwater and come up or come down. It's like runs that way. It runs parallel with the field. So
okay,
yeah, so you don't get it like that. But no, I mean that's right there. Philly's the same way. Boom, right there. It's the best.
Yeah, it's insane.
Little things.
Best of all of them, Nationals Park. Take the metro. Easy to get to. It's easy to get to with a car. It's easy to get to with public transportation. It's the best.
That area is blown up too. The Navy Yard. That area.
They put that in there. It was run down and there was like nothing. And now it's like one of the coolest, trendiest parts of the like DC.
And they're fortunate that they had that. They had that kind of industrial whatever was there, where you could be like, okay, we're gonna put this here. There's a spot, right? I'm sure that's where Tampa runs into. Is like, here's the two places we can put it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, but we'll see. Business of sports, man. End of the day, whoever's got the deepest pockets usually wins.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
We interrupt this episode to bring you a word from the official sponsor of Not For Long Media and the Breaking Bats podcast, the Original Fudge Kitchen. It is a staple of the Jersey Shore with 6 locations in Cape May, Wildwood, North Wildwood, Stone Harbor, and Ocean City. The Original Fudge Kitchen makes all of their fudge in store, guaranteeing a delicious product, so stop by and let them know that Not For Long Media and Breaking Bats sent you. Check them out online at fudgekitchens.com as they are shipping fudge and sweet treats all across the country. Now back to the episode. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was I saw this. The Yankee Stadium's going to host Pitt-Syracuse college football game this fall. Apparently, it's going to be the rematch of the very first college football game played at the original Yankee Stadium. So it's like a 100-year anniversary of when they played at Old Yankee Stadium, these two teams. It got me thinking, though, and this is a good opportunity to do another crossover. If you could play football at any MLB stadium, where would you want to play?
First off, I think it's awesome that Pitt and Q's are playing there, and a little homage, a little history. It'll be really cool. It's a great point that you brought up. Baseball stadiums I love to play in. I think Fenway is the first and really the only true answer. I really do. Um, I mean, Wrigleyville, Chicago, I put that on there as well. San Fran on the water. Baltimore in that area is cool too. But I think for me, Fenway is my answer. I love Boston. I love the city. I've walked around that ballpark. I've been in the ballpark. I loved Boston College. I wanted to go play football there. So, Fenway, this how historic it is, how accessible it is, the history, like I just brought up, it's just so cool. Like the place just feels like you're in Green Bay playing. There's something about it, like you're at a museum. So it's last of a dying breed in this world. And I hope they do everything they can to make it happen. I would love to play a football game there.
Do you think the experience of playing football on a baseball field? I know they did that in Oakland for so long, and I know guys probably hated it. Also, because they didn't cover up the dirt part of the infield, they just were having guys sliding around on there, which I probably didn't like. But do you think that's a weird experience though to play on a baseball field?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, everything I played in, I shouldn't even say, yeah, I think it's a weird experience to answer your question. Yes, because you're used to like a square field, like even growing up. I guess when you're growing up, I played on baseball fields before. You have the little baseball field like in the one corner of the end zone and a little dirt in there, it's no big deal though. So it's just weird. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know, it's a 120-yard field with 53 and a half yards wide or whatever it is. You don't really notice it until like it's right there in your lap, I guess. That would be my answer to that question.
It made me think. I feel like I sent you a link. Maybe it was last fall or something, but like there was a baseball game played at a football game played at a baseball, like a minor league baseball park, and they had the two sidelines right next to each other because they didn't have enough room to put them on either side of the field.
Yep. I remember that.
Um,
I
yeah,
love all that though. I think that stuff's so cool. Like, it's not normal. So, you know what? Here's a challenge. Let's figure it out. Put the ball down, old school, let's just go play football. No worries. And
yeah,
and I, everyone's got to drive the same direction because you can't throw it in the one end zone. Like, you know what? Hey, as long as the national title's not played there, figure it out, have fun, try new venues. Like, I'm a big proponent of these outdoor hockey games. I think they're awesome. Now
yes.
the sight lines are tough, and I get all that, but I'm watching that game. I'm dialed into it. I want to see it. I want to feel it. I would love to be at those games. Got to either A, spend a bunch of money so you can see the ice, or B, spend the least amount of money so you can just party there the whole time and have a great time and watch the game on the Jumbotron, which a lot of people do anyways. Anyhow. So like I'm a big proponent of like I think the Flyers should play Pittsburgh in either Hershey, PA or State College, PA, and make it a big thing out there. Like I think that should be a thing. Like every year, these teams should be playing outdoor games. I don't think you can get enough of them. Everyone's making money
Yeah.
off them. The advertisement, I'm sure the viewers are up. The teams and the players love it. Like mix it up. It's one game a year out of 82.
Stadium series. I looked at the Capitals are playing at NC State's football field. They're playing the Hurricanes. Can't afford tickets though. It's like 350 for the cheapest. I don't know how. There's more seats at Carter Finley Stadium, I think. Don't know how they're charging that much. So if they
Yeah.
figured that out, I would for sure go down there and watch them play outdoor hockey.
I think that absolutely. I think the Maple Leafs played the Caps right here in Annapolis Stadium. And
Yes, Navy Stadium.
I think it was when I was with the Bears. And I wanted to go so, so bad. Obviously I love Annapolis. I live here now, but I was ready to, come down and watch it. But of course, I'm sure football got in the way or something got in the way. But yeah, whenever there's a game here again in Navy, I'm going to it. I'm excited for Navy baseball this year too. I'll be talking about that. Everyone's gonna be like, huh, who? Patriot League? They're probably hopefully at the top of it. I don't think they are though. But it's a 10-minute walk from my house. So I'm gonna be at those games.
They put guys in the MLB Navy baseball. It's also free to go to those games. I wanted to go to one of those, but
It's a good point.
um,
A little bit different than
it
a
is.
Winter Classic hockey game.
Yes. Um, so the other thing I had was uniforms. I saw this headline. The Seattle Mariners had way too many different uniform variations. They had 6 uniform combinations, and like most of those were alternates. So as a result, baseball said you can only have 4 uniforms in a City Connect. So they had to get rid of the all gray, like the boring, like every team's road uniform. Um, which first of all, do you like alternate uniforms just as a general rule?
Yeah, I think it's fun. It's all about the fans. It's about the kids. It's about social media. It's about all the other things as a player and as a fan. And then the play, and then you focus on playing, right? Like, don't get it twisted, guys. I firmly believe in the playing aspect. I'm just saying, like, make it fun, make it unique, sell some new hats, put some money in the owner's pockets. Like, so they can go reinvest in the field. Hopefully they have a franchise that does that type of thing. But yeah, you asked like my favorite uniforms. I think all the gray uniforms are brutal. I think they're so
So bad.
outdated. They just bring me back to like playing baseball when I was like the junior Braves or like the junior Athletics, and it was like all gray, like just rough pants from your local sporting goods store. Like they're just brutal. So some of my favorite jerseys in the MLB. I like the Phillies cream jersey. I like the Phillies powder blue jersey. I love the color purple. So the Rockies purple jersey is tremendous. Anything that Oakland does other than the gray jersey, I love. The Oakland A. I think that most people rock that hat other than Yankees hats and Red Sox hats in the entire world. That A is just cool. People just rock it. Unless
Mhm.
you're a Padres fan, because I was out in San Diego and every single person in San Diego wears a Padres hat, all different colors, all different styles. So that was really cool. Fun fact.
Yeah.
I love the Red Sox red jersey. I think that's a strong jersey. And then the Wrigleyville Chicago jerseys that was made a couple last year. They were like dark blue
Like
with
navy. Yeah.
the light blue lettering. Love Wrigleyville and love Chicago. So they were my kind of 5, 6, 7 jerseys there that I like in the MLB. Top of my head.
I don't like the Red Sox red jersey that says just like Red Sox because it just like they pair it with just like it just looks like a spring training uniform. It doesn't look like the solid color uniform I don't really love. The Rockies is a great call when you pair that purple with like the pinstripes, like very, very underrated that not a lot of people think of. Brian and I did our top 5 uniforms, and I was trying to look back at what I said was my favorite. The Cardinals home whites, where you got the bird on the bat. I said that was my favorite just because it's like old school. They haven't changed their logo at all throughout their entire like team history. I had Phillies throwback on there. I had Mariners Northwest green. Went out and bought a Mariners jersey like that this past year is awesome. The Nats cherry blossom and then the Brewers where they have like the navy and the gold. But in terms of least favorite, any all gray. Also the Astros. I don't love. There's something about that orange and that blue. I don't love that together. So unfortunately, that's on there.
Great ballpark. Great ballpark. You get a chance to go there. Go, folks. It's awesome. Love Minute Maid.
Did you go roof open or roof closed?
Roof closed when we went.
Like it's most of it.
Yeah, it's a great. It's there. I mean, they've been winning a ton too. It's a great organization. Houston's a great food city. Love Houston.
Also Arizona. Arizona tries weird stuff. They get like neon
I like
colors
that.
in there. You like that?
You know what? I shouldn't say that. I don't like all the weird colors, but I like the reds. I like that red. I like the Coyotes when they go with the kind of all red jersey too. Talk about it like a failure. Like put all those teams together. They're all like in strange places all over the place, and it's like they've had some good years there. The old purple Diamondbacks jerseys. Oh man,
those were cool.
Whew, they were sweet.
Like Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling.
Oh,
yeah, those were cool.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
It's a fun conversation to have because if the jersey is cool enough that you're right, that means people will go out and buy them. Because like if your jersey sucks and like you get like people like me who will go out and buy like a Mariners jersey, even though like I don't have any affiliation to Seattle. So
yeah, there's something like a baseball jersey, something about it. Like I'm just jacked to put this one on tonight. It gives me an excuse to. I'm like chomping at the bit. I'll be honest with you, Justin. I did some serious prep and I'm ready to go for this NFL players. How would I build my team? I'm ready to go.
Our last thing that we had Colin for today is so Brian and I at one point we did baseball players playing football, and I think I might have had JT Realmuto as my quarterback. That's the only one I can remember because he's a high school quarterback. But like if we had to do NFL players making a baseball like team, could you come up with like a pitcher like infield outfield situation?
Came up with the whole thing, the whole shebang. So this is how I did it. And I didn't build it with the guys that I know that could play baseball. Obviously, Kyler Murray should be on it, Shaq Thompson, Russell Wilson, Jeff Driscoll, like guys that were drafted, right? We get all that. All the quarterbacks were drafted in the 50th round of some draft, right? Just in case, all that stuff, right? I'm not doing that. I'm just doing like based off like how they play in football. And there's going to be some guys left off this list that I'm bummed about. But I really thought deep into like some of my favorite players in the MLB. And then, okay, what position do they play? And then who do they match up with? So my outfield, I went all wideouts, long, rangy, tall. And I'm assuming all these guys hit decent, right? Like, I don't know what they hit. But first off, DJ Moore is one of the best athletes in the world. I put him in left field. He's a freak and would be a really good baseball player if he wanted to be, I'm assuming, because he is that gifted and talented and works hard. I'm putting Diggs in center field because you're going to get a quicker tracking the football in all these crazy places. Like, he can do that with the baseball too, I'm sure, if he had those reps. I'm going Jefferson in right field because, well, why wouldn't you? I mean, you could move all those guys around out there. There's not a ball that's going to fall down with these three out there in left field, center, and right field. My infield, I'm going Kelsey at first base because he's long, tall, has great hands, and I think he's rangy enough to field the position too. So I'm going to go Kelsey.
Travis
I'm
or
going
Jason?
Hunter. It's a great point. I'm going Travis. Love you, Jason, but your brother, and you know this, is just longer and taller. I'm going to go Hunter Renfroe at second base. I think he's crafty. I think he's got good hands. I think he can do a lot of things moving around. I'm going C-Mac at shortstop because he's the best player in the NFL, and he can run, he can catch. He'll be so driven, so dialed in. I get to see him with like the tight fitting jersey and like the glasses that are like popped up, and he's just got the look like you're like, this dude means business. And then the crazy man, I think the best tight end in the NFL. I had to give a tight end a nod. I think Kittle on the hot corner because he's nuts. He loves the hot corner probably. He's long, he's rangy, he's athletic. He can run with the best of them. And then behind home plate, this was kind of tough because I'm like, okay, they're all built like kind of fullbacks. And the first fullback that came to my mind was Michael Burton of the Kansas City Chiefs. The guy's a grinder. He's tough. He's smart. He's got a great personality. He's so disciplined. So I feel like that'd be really good for a catcher. And then my pitchers, obviously Matt Stafford, the guy can rip it. Plus he was a good baseball player too. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and Joe Burrow. And then my two closers. I think a guy who's a closer and can go out and close games. We saw that this year, and I've seen him for a really long time do it, and he's just kind of getting his start right now is PJ Walker. He's my middle reliever. He's in there. He can throw gas. He can throw the deep ball in baseball, and he probably would have a good changeup. And then, of course, the greatest closer of all time, Tom Brady. And to follow it up, my DH is Ricard with the Ravens because he's 300 pounds at 6'2". He's built like a brick shithouse. He's an absolute stud. So that is my lineup for my baseball team if I had to make it, with just body types and types of athletes. No defensive players on the entire list. I love you guys. I mentioned Shaq Thompson earlier, but no defensive players. You guys don't have to catch. You guys don't have to play in field positions like an offensive player does. So, yeah, maybe a DB. I could have put a DB or safety back there in center, but these guys just catch the ball for a living, and unridiculous people leaning all over them, making all these catches. I had to put those guys out there in center. There's my list. I hope you liked it, Jay.
I'm floored. That is the best, like most well thought out explanation of putting guys in positions. And you're right, Ricard would just be like a Dan Vogelbach situation. He would mash the ball.
Yes, Dan's a great dude too. I met Dan. He was Jeff Driscoll's good friend from growing up. And Jeff would have him up, or, like anybody in college, hey, my buddy's coming up for a spring ball, show him a good time. I'm like the hurt guy. I'm like, oh, no problem. So, Dan and I spent a full day having a hell of a time in Gainesville. I haven't talked to him since, but great dude. Hit it off with him. Yeah.
There's no bigger Dan Vogelbach fan than myself. When that guy, all he does is hit home runs. It's the coolest
thing.
Hit
stingers, man.
Oh,
Hit stingers. Yeah, that's the list, man. I was like, do I go through and like Google like who played baseball? Shaq Thompson. This dude, he's a stud. I mean, I was with him in Carolina. I love the guy. First off, great guy, great leader, great person. But we had a home run derby. JJ Jansen was hitting home runs out of the AAA ballpark in Charlotte, or the Charlotte Nice Play. JJ is like the baseball player who like joined football just because his friends were doing it, and then became a 15-year NFL snapper. And he's like a stud from Arizona. Like, he's a crazy coach. Like, he always comes in with like the dirty shoes because he coaches his kids, and with the baseball dirt on him, and like the baseball hat, like whatever the traveling baseball team club that his kids play for in Charlotte. But Shaq was violent, like hitting the ball, violent. I don't think he had a professional hit. I know he played for the Red Sox organization at one point, and I think he went like 0 for, but I mean, in BP, it was different. You're like, okay, that guy played professionally. You just knew, right? Like it was like a gunshots were going off in that place. And he was just driving line drives off the wall. He didn't hit any out that day, I don't think. Maybe he did. But there was just line drives, like they were just accelerating into the wall. And then JJ popped a few out. So yeah, good stuff. Big list. Appreciate your patience with it.
I think my favorite though is probably C-Mac at shortstop, because I saw he's got a little bit of an arm on him, as evidence in the NFC title game.
He could throw. He can legit throw, and he just has the swagger to play shortstop. I think him and Renfro there with the quick hands and the quick feet, like turning double plays.
What a double play combo.
I mean, unreal. And then Kelsey's at first with the length. Yeah.
Dude,
I
appreciate how well thought out that was. That made my day. So I appreciate the effort there. Well, that's actually all I had. This has been great. We'll have to get you back on here, maybe with Ryan, maybe with Brian. We only get co-hosts with names that rhyme. So
yes. Then you have Justin and Colin. Boo.
Justin and Colin. But it's it's been a lot of fun. So I appreciate you coming on Breaking Bats. Who says football players don't know anything about baseball? Who says?
Well, I'll tell you this. We did batting practice that day, and I remember all my good hits in baseball and all my good hits playing beer baseball in college. We called it slosh ball. It's an amazing sport. Metal bat, tennis ball. Catch the ball in a solo cup is automatically 3 outs. It was a good time. Had to finish your beer before you went around to home base. That's real baseball. It's called slosh ball. Great game. And I used to crush it. I mean, crush it. And then I went out there. I got in the batter's box. The backdrop of Charlotte's going on. I literally couldn't get the ball over first base. So a little bummed, but my career's over. I'm getting the wooden bat in my hands, and I'm getting back into there. Put, elbow up like the old days, and I'm just ripping it. Elbow up. Now it's elbow down. They're all debunking it. It's great.
You needed batting gloves, though. I feel like you're just out there ripping it with just no batting gloves, like it was like 1890 or something. You needed gloves.
Unbelievable that those guys do that with no gloves. Like any of the dudes in the majors that hit with no gloves. Respect. My hands were ringing off the hook.
Yeah, it's just a wild thing that you didn't have gloves on there. But
gritty,
toughness, grit. That's what you get.
I didn't put any. You notice I didn't put myself in any of these. No, I don't deserve to be on this list. We'll
put you somewhere. You could probably be. I could see you being like first base, like Kelsey, or
I'm a perfect bat boy. I'll get the keg ready to rock. I'll get the bat, the proper bat you need, the pine tar, all the stuff. And, it'll be a great time. I'll set up the post-game dinner, drinks.
You need a manager.
You do. And you need like a player engagement. I could do that.
I like that. Gus Felder. Yeah.
Gus Felder. Correct.
Shout out. Okay. This has been great. Check it out. The Colin Thompson Show on Not For Long Media. We have a bunch of other great podcasts to listen to too. Geez, 2 Girls, 1 League. Ever heard of it? It's pretty great.
Ever heard of it? Know them? Yeah. We have a bunch, man. There's a bunch of them. We're rocking and rolling now. We're adding a couple more too. Kind of. We got to see. They're in the processing parts, but we'll see. New logo. I'm loving our new logo. I'll be honest with you.
How great is that too? Yeah, it looks great.
It looks clean.
Have it in the corner if you're watching on YouTube, which you should be. So, well, cool. Thank you so much, Colin. And hopefully we'll get you back on here soon.
J.A., you're the man. Unbelievably proud of what you guys are doing with Breaking Bats. You guys have been killing it. Ryan, Brian, and Justin. Thank you guys for all you do. Thank you for everybody in the back, too. We have a great team and Not For Long. Get it done. So thank you, brother.